Hello, I'm Dr. Sheldon Cooper, and welcome to the premiere episode of Sheldon Cooper Presents Fun with Flags.
Follow along at home with our LGBTQ Pride Flags and What They All Mean book. Get your Pride Flag pins, then download our 4K JPEG images or Adobe Illustrator vectors of all 150 Pride Flags mentioned in this video at ProfessorPride.com. There are a lot of LGBTQ flags flying around at Pride events or around town, so we've compiled the list of the most popular 150 flags you'll see to explain what they all mean. To help us understand them all, we've broken them down into 10 categories, including the acronym, movements, sexual orientations, romantic orientations, gender identities, combinations, tribes, sexual, other, and hate symbols. So let's get started with the acronym. In June 1978, Gilbert Baker designed the original LGBTQ Pride flag at the request of Harvey Milk for the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day. A year later, they got rid of the pink at the top and then finally the light blue for a reported lack of fabric at the time, leaving us with the current LGBTQ Pride flag for our whole community. In 2018, Daniel Quasar added the chevron to include people of color and transgender people for what we now call the Progress Pride flag, representing the progress we have made and the progress we have yet to accomplish. The Lesbian Pride flag is for women who are attracted to other women. In 2018, there was some controversy over the original creator, so the community came up with an alternative lesbian pride flag, which you might also see nowadays. Gay male pride flag represents men who are attracted to other men. The bisexual pride flag is for anyone who is attracted to others in two gender identities, one of which could be their own gender, but does not have to be. While there is some controversy over this flag also being for someone who is attracted to two or more genders, in truth, there is a definition for trisexual, which is being attracted to three genders, and multisexual for three or more, which also has a pride flag we'll discuss in a moment. Transgender is for anyone whose gender identity does not match the gender they were assigned at birth. Queer and the alternative queer flags are for anyone who describes their sexual orientation or gender identity as not corresponding to the established ideas of heterosexual norms. Questioning is for anyone who is questioning their orientation or gender identity, but they don't want to put a label on it at this time. The original intersex and the newer current version are for anyone who has a condition in which the individual is born with sex characteristics that do not fit the typical binary definitions of male or female. Next up are the movement pride flags. The ally pride flag is for anyone who is not a member of the LGBTQ community, but they want to show their support for our rights and freedoms. The black gay pride flag is used to represent people of color within the LGBTQ community. The Don't Say Gay flag is used as a protest against states and areas banning LGBTQ books and discussions, such as Florida a few years ago. Drag and the drag alternative flags are for those who offer a performance of exaggerated femininity, masculinity, or other forms of gender expression for entertainment purposes. The gay wedding flag is used for homosexual couples like myself and my husband who are married. The lesbian Labrys flag is used to symbolize strength, empowerment, and the rejection of social expectations in the lesbian community. Mogai and the Mogai alternative flags represent marginalized orientations, gender alignments, and intersex people. The pink triangle flag is a reclaimed symbol from the Nazis during World War II, who used the pink triangle to mark gay individuals in their camps. Now it's been reclaimed by our community to symbolize strength over adversity. The queer platonic relationship flag is for those who are in a committed, intimate relationship, but don't label their relationship with a marriage. South African gay flag symbolizes the freedom and diversity of South Africa's LGBTQ community and celebrates legal same-sex marriage. Next up are the sexual orientation flags. Aspec, an umbrella term for anyone who identifies as asexual and aromantic. Abrosexual represents those whose sexual orientation is fluid or changing over time. Achillean represents men and those who identify as male-aligned, who are attracted to other men-aligned individuals. Agiosexual is for those who experience a disconnect between their own self and their sexual orientation. Alloerotic describes those who feel erotic attraction to another person, as compared to autoerotic, which is the attraction to oneself. Allosexual and allosexual alternative flags are for those who feel sexual attraction to another person. Androphilia is for those who feel sexual attraction to men or masculinity. Androsexual means attraction to masculinity but not necessarily men. Andersexual is the attraction to people with an androgynous gender presentation regardless of gender identity. Aplatonic refers to individuals who do not experience platonic attraction. They don't feel the desire to form or maintain friendships with specific people. Asexual is for those who do not feel sexual attraction to others. Bicurious is for those who are open to a sexual relationship with those of two gender identities. Heterosexual refers to someone who feels sexual attraction exclusively or primarily to non-binary or genderqueer people. Demisexual is for anyone whose sexual attraction for someone only becomes present once an emotional bond is formed between them. Diamoric is the sexual attraction of non-binary individuals to others which cannot be described as same gender, other gender, or gay. Genophilia is the sexual attraction to women or femininity. Genisexual is the attraction to femininity but not necessarily women. Heteroflexible is for people who primarily identify as heterosexual or straight, but may also experience attraction to people of the same gender. Homoflexible is for those who primarily identify as homosexual or gay, but may also experience attraction to people of an opposite gender. Monosexual is for those whose attraction is directed only to one gender identity. Multisexual is for those whose attraction is directed at 3 or more gender identities. Omni represents an attraction to people of all genders with a focus on how gender plays a role in that attraction. Omnisexual is for those who are sexually attracted to those of all gender identities and sexual orientations. Pansexual is the sexual attraction to people regardless of their gender identity. This is best described as thinking of a dating profile where you don't care what gender is on the profile, you just could be attracted to the person no matter what the gender says. Polysexual is for those who are sexually attracted to people of multiple gender identities. Pomosexual is for those who reject, avoid, or do not fit into conventional sexual orientation labels, like heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual. And sapphic is for women who are sexually attracted to other women. Next, we'll move on to romantic orientations. Aromantic describes someone who does not feel romantic attraction to anyone regardless of gender identity. Biromantic is for those who are romantically attracted to two gender identities. Centromantic describes the exclusive or primary romantic attraction to non-binary or genderqueer individuals. Demiromantic is for someone whose romantic attraction for someone is only formed once an emotional bond is formed first. Homoromantic refers to someone who is romantically attracted to those of the same gender. Omniromantic is for someone who is romantically attracted to people of all gender identities. Panromantic is for someone who's romantically attracted to others regardless of their gender identity. Polyromantic describes someone who is romantically attracted to multiple, but not all gender identities. Pomoromantic is for individuals who reject or don't fit existing labels of romantic attraction. Next up are gender identities. Cisgender describes someone whose gender did not change from the gender they were assigned at birth. Agender is for people who describe themselves as not having a gender identity at all. Alexigender is used by those whose gender identity is fluid or shifting between different gender identities, but they are unable to identify the specific genders they experience. Androgyny and the alternative androgyny flags are for those who possess both masculine and feminine characteristics. Androgynous is for those who are partially male and partially female in appearance. Aporigender is a non-binary gender identity that is separate from male, female, or anything in between. Bigender describes someone with two gender identities. Demi-boy is a person whose gender identity is partially connected with being a boy or a man. Demi-flux refers to a person whose gender identity is partially static and unchanging, and partially fluctuating in intensity. Demigender is an umbrella term for non-binary gender identities that have a partial connection to a specific gender. Demigirl is a person whose gender identity is partially connected with being a girl or a woman. Genderbender is a person who dresses up and presents themselves in a way that defies societal expectations of their gender. Gender creative refers to someone who describes their gender identity as outside of the traditional societal expectations of either male or female binary. Gender neutral is for someone who refers to their identity with an absence of a specific gender. Gender nonconforming is for those whose behavior or appearance does not conform to prevailing cultural or societal expectations about what is appropriate to their gender. Gender questioning is for someone who is currently questioning their gender identity and does not want to define it specifically at this time. Gender fluid is for those whose gender identity moves between two or more gender identities constantly. Gender flux is for people whose gender identity is fluctuating in intensity constantly. Gender refers to the deliberate act of disrupting, challenging, or exaggerating traditional gender norms and expectations. Genderqueer is for someone who does not follow binary gender norms. This may be non-binary, gender non-conforming, agender, pangender, gender fluid, or another gender identity. Hijra is for those in the LGBTQ community in South Asia, particularly in India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and is used to symbolize gender identity and spirituality. The next 4 flags, intergender original, intergender original alternative, intergender current, and intergender alternative, are used to describe a gender experience that falls outside of the traditional male or female binary. Maverick refers to someone whose gender identity is completely independent of male, female, masculine, feminine, or any neutral or derived gender expressions. Multigender is for those who experience 2 or more gender identities at the same time. Neutrois is a gender identity describing individuals who experience their gender as neutral, neither male or female or a third gender, and may seek to have a neutral appearance. Neurogender refers to someone whose gender identity is influenced or connected to their neurodivergence, such as autism or ADHD. Non-binary is for those whose gender identity does not fall into either male or female categories. Pangender refers to someone who is non-binary and their gender identity encompasses multiple genders at either the same time or fluctuating over time. Polygender is for someone who experiences more than one gender at the same time. Transfeminine refers to someone who was assigned male at birth but whose gender identity is feminine. Transmasculine refers to someone who is assigned female at birth but whose gender identity is masculine. Trigender is for someone who experiences 3 gender identities at the same time or is fluctuating between them over time. The warrior flag is for those of a third gender within Indonesia and represents those assigned male at birth but who present femininity. And xenogender is a non-binary gender identity that falls outside of the traditional understanding of gender, often drawing inspiration from objects, animals, plants, or abstract concepts. Next up are the combination pride flags, which combine sexual, romantic, and gender flags in one. Since we've already covered many of these definitions a moment ago, we'll only briefly mention some of these flags. Agenbian and the Agenbian alternative flags are for those who are agender and are attracted to women. Allo-ace is for those who experience romantic attraction but little to no sexual attraction. Aro-allo refers to someone who experiences little to no romantic attraction, but they experience sexual attraction. Aromantic, asexual. Asexual, biromantic. Asexual, panromantic. Bigender, pansexual. Biromantic, demisexual. Biromantic, homosexual. Bisexual, panromantic. Demi-bisexual. Demisexual, gay. Demisexual, panromantic. Demisexual, pansexual. Fruity autistic represents people who are both LGBTQ and autistic. Gender fluid, abrosexual. Gender fluid, gay. Gray agender represents those who identify as having a non-binary gender that is weak or indeterminate. Gray asexual is for those who are typically asexual and are not sexually attracted to others, but also experience limited and infrequent sexual attraction to others. Gray pansexual represents those who experience low levels of sexual attraction to all genders. Librafluid is for those who are mostly agender but have a gender that is fluid and fluctuates between other gender identities. Non-binary bisexual. Pansexual demiromantic. Straight queer represents those who are both heterosexual and queer, and trans intersex. Next up are the tribes. These flags are meant to be used only by those who choose to describe themselves as their definitions and belong to their communities. You can think of these like the smaller communities within the larger LGBTQ community. You might find these tribes grouping together at pride events since they are like-minded individuals. For the record, none of the following tribes are attracted to actual animals at all. Their characteristics are just similar to a certain animal type. For example, the bear tribe is for those who are typically larger, hairier men who project an image of rugged masculinity. This is similar to an actual grizzly bear, but those in the bear tribe are not attracted to an actual animal other than fellow humans. Butch lesbian is used by lesbians who identify with more of a masculine gender expression. Fat tribe is for those who are typically larger in body type and represents the acceptance and celebration of all body sizes. The flag's colors are derived from a famous ice cream flavor combination. Femi typically refers to lesbians, but also could be used for gay males who express themselves in a traditionally feminine way. The furry fandom flag is a subculture primarily focused on anthropomorphic animal characters. It encompasses a community of people who share a passion for these characters, engage in related creative activities like art and writing, and participate in online communities and conversations. Again, furries are not attracted to actual animals. It's just that we'd like to dress up as an animal sometimes, which is no different and just as harmless as your school mascot was. The geek tribe is for those who are part of the LGBTQ and engage in or discuss technical or computer-related tasks obsessively. Lipstick lesbian represents lesbians who express themselves with feminine features and mannerisms, such as makeup, dresses, and other feminine attire. Military is for those in the LGBTQ community who are either members of the military in their country or are attracted to members of the military. Otter refers to a gay man who is lean and hairy. They are not as hairy as a bear, but are not as boyish or lean as a twink. Pause is used for someone who openly identifies as having HIV. The pause referring to being positive for HIV. The pup tribe refers to someone who shares similar traits as a puppy, such as cuddling, kissing with our tongues, and acting up for bones. Some pups refer to this as a pup headspace, where the person puts themselves in the mind of a puppy instead of a human, because life is sometimes stressful and puppies don't have the same worries as humans do. Other pups like to use pup hoods, leashes, and tails to enjoy sexual time with their partners, which we call owners. For the record, again, pups are not attracted in any way to actual canines. We just have similar traits as puppies. Twink refers to someone usually between the ages of 18 to 35 who is typically skinny, they don't have much chest hair, and commonly act much like the characteristics of the Twinkie, the snack food which their name is derived from. They typically act less intelligent and are referred to as not good for anything else other than their creamy center. That brings us to our sexual flags category. BDSM is for anyone who enjoys being tied up or tying someone else up during adult activities. Fetish refers to someone who enjoys any fetish. Leather is for someone who likes dressing up in leather during adult activities. Master-slave refers to someone who either desires or currently has a dominant and submissive relationship. They either wish to be a master or a slave during adult activities. Owner is for someone who wishes to be or is already an owner. They take the dominant role during adult activities but may bleed this behavior into their daily life, with their partner doing chores or other things for their owner. Polyamory refers to someone who desires or is currently in multiple romantic or sexual relationships with the consent of all people involved. Rubber is for someone who enjoys dressing in rubber outfits during adult activities, and vor refers to someone who has a fetish for being eaten by or eating someone or something real or imaginary. That brings us to our next category, other. The unlabeled flag is for anyone who chooses not to use any of the before-mentioned flags and wishes to express their pride, but also wishes to either not label or disclose their sexual orientation or gender identity to others. Lastly, our final category is for hate symbols. The straight pride flag is used by homophobic and transphobic people to mock our community. The flag literally refers to straight people and straight marriage being the only type of relationship which should be allowed in the world. Whenever you see this flag flying, it's best to avoid the people waving it around. Instead, if you want to support the community, you can always use the ally pride flag, which does not have the hate associated with it. And that's 150 pride flags explained. We hope you enjoyed, and maybe it can help you find your orientation, your gender, or your tribe. As I said before, you can check out our Pride Flags and What They All Mean book, Pride Flag pins, or our digital downloads to get all of these Pride Flags in either 4K JPEG or Adobe Illustrator vector images. Get yours now and help support our LGBTQ education at ProfessorPride.com. Special thanks to our members and subscribers this month who proudly support our work providing LGBTQ education and resources. Please subscribe to our channel or click on this video to continue enjoying Powered by Rainbows.